Robert Mueller's report, the heavily redacted version, has been released to the public, and journalists, of course, are poring over it, sharing excerpts and analysis, and we will do the same today. Now, there are various categories where we're gonna break this down, but I wanna start off with what I personally feel is an important part of Mueller's report. Again, this is not interpretation, this is literally an excerpt from Mueller's report. It says, quote, "We concluded that Congress has the authority to prohibit a president's corrupt use of his authority in order to protect the integrity of the administration of justice." Now, there is some debate. Of course, this is a very politically driven debate as to whether or not Mueller wanted Congress to investigate the obstruction of justice charges against the president. Now, the report specifically hones in on the issue of collusion and obstruction of justice, something that most people already know. And this report, I have to be honest, did not provide much clarity when it comes to those two issues. Now, let me give you the relevant portions of this report. I want to begin with the beginning. What was Donald Trump's reaction to the investigation? What was his reaction to the special counsel's involvement in the investigation? And here's what the report indicates. On May 17th, 2017, the acting attorney general for the Russia investigation appointed a special counsel to conduct the investigation and related matters. The president reacted to news that a special counsel had been appointed by telling advisors that it was, quote, "the end of his presidency," and demanding that Sessions, meaning Jeff Sessions, of course, resign. Now, he specifically said the following, and of course I have to censor it. "Oh my God, this is terrible. This is the end of my presidency. I'm effed." Okay, so.
Flatulent, I think is the, I think that's what he said. But it's good of you to blank it out though.
If you have done nothing wrong, why the panic?
Maybe this is the episode where I disagree with you a lot. I don't actually interpret that section the same as everyone else. And I've seen that particular section spread around a lot. No, I think he very enthusiastically, he wanted the Russians to help him. I think he was following along as all the different stuff came out and everything, all that stuff. You could say whether you think that rises to the level of collusion or whatever, which is of course not a legal term, that's fine. But that section is also consistent with him just thinking that it would derail his presidency even if there wasn't a crime. Or alternatively, that there's a crime but it's not related to anything having to do with the election. Like if he is actually worried that the investigation could spin out to other things, which they did not look into in the Mueller report, he could think it's ended for that reason. But I also think if he thinks it would suck up all the oxygen in the room, that could explain what he said there. It doesn't explain all of what he did, but.
Yeah, we actually don't disagree at all.
Okay, well some people on Twitter are presenting that as proof itself that he was guilty.
So look, there are, and I think that there's a lot of miscommunication about Trump's potential crimes. And so there's the whole issue of collusion, which congressional Democrats have really latched onto. And then there's the issue of potential financial crimes, something that we've brought up on the show quite a bit. And so the reason why I bring up that quote and how he panics is because I feel like it appears that he's in some way acknowledging that there's something going on, and maybe it's not collusion. I personally think he was worried that the investigation wouldn't be as limited in scope, and the investigation was limited in scope. Mueller specifically looked at collusion. Did Donald Trump and his campaign willingly cooperate with the Russians or collude with the Russians in order to give him a leg up or an advantage in this election? That is what he focused on. All of the other potential issues, which the report does indicate there were other issues, were outsourced to other investigators. So again, Mueller's investigation was limited in scope.
Yeah, well, or specifically to coordination or conspiracy, not to collusion, which is a term that they only use in the report in quoting other people or explaining why they don't use the term collusion.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's another section of the report that specifically says that obstruction of justice might not have been founded on trying to hide any sort of underlying crime having to do with conspiracy, but could well have been generated by his justifiable fears that it would uncover other crimes that we don't necessarily know about, and that could be personal or financial or whatever. That specifically is talked about in the report.
Exactly. So far we are in agreement. Now, in the very beginning, of course, there was the issue of Attorney General Jeff Sessions. He decided to recuse himself, and Donald Trump was furious about it. And so he wanted Jeff Sessions to resign. And so according to the report, Sessions submitted his resignation, but the president ultimately did not accept it. The president told aides that the special counsel had conflicts of interest and suggested that the special counsel therefore could not serve. The president's advisors told him the asserted conflicts were meritless and had already been considered by the Department of Justice. Now, I bring up this portion of the report because it really does show you that while someone like William Barr, Donald Trump's attorney general, argues that no, I mean, look, Donald Trump has done everything to cooperate. He didn't try to use his executive powers in preventing others from cooperating, or he didn't use his executive privilege in a way that would hinder this investigation. That is, in my opinion, misleading because Trump was surrounded with aides who kept trying to convince him or talk him out of jumping off a cliff.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's an important point in the report for you to know and just go back to for context when we talk about William Barr's press conference today.
Yeah, I mean, when he claimed this morning that there had been full and total cooperation, that was when he jumped the shark. Like nobody actually believes that. They might pretend to if you're Jesse Waters or something, but nobody believes it. I mean, we know that he didn't actually sit down and testify before Mueller. So you're gonna fall far short of total cooperation with that, let alone trying to fire literally everyone involved in the investigation at one point or another.
Exactly. And one final portion of this having to do with Jeff Sessions. In early summer of 2017, the president called Sessions at home and again asked him to reverse his recusal from the Russia investigation.
Oh, and also, I just want to mention this because you had in your last graphic that he was told that the concerns were meritless. Just bear in mind, this is going to be a sort of constant theme throughout all of this, is that he was told that his concerns about Mueller and his partisanship or whatever were meritless. Remember, of course, he's a Republican. And of course, for almost 2 years, he continued to say that it was the case, that these were angry Democrats and all that. So he just lied and lied and lied month after month after month, going far beyond just saying that this guy is a Democrat when he's not, but also saying that he is treasonous. So when you're keeping a scorecard of all of the things that are not obstruction of justice, accusing the person investigating of you committing treason, not obstruction of justice.
The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.